Hey, my name's Izzy, this is Rolling Virtual Cards, coming at you with another Magic the Gathering set review. We're going over Modern Horizons here. I'm hoping to hit the card by card, tell you what I expect them to do, in what formats, and later down on the line after a month or two of the set being out, I'm just going to review on what cards have seen play. So instead of doing, waiting like I did with the last set, I'm just going to do my opinions here. So we'll go right into this with Aria Alex. Actually, let's fix one thing. Let's do full. This just lets me scroll straight down so we can do this. Aria Auxilia Auxiliary is 3 and a white for a 3/3 legendary, 3/3 creature bird soldier. With flying, and when it enters the battlefield, support 2. Supports your classic mechanic. It enters the battlefield, you put a 1 counter on each of 2 target creatures. Ooh. Choking there, sorry. I don't know if you'll see this anywhere. I think in pre-release it'll be fine. Limited formats is great, but other than that, not sure exactly what you're thinking. The only other place you could see this is probably Pauper, but I think it's too slow even for Pauper. So next we've got Ajani Fells the Godsire, or Field? No, I think it's Fells the Godsire. 3 and 2 white for a saga. Exile target creature an opponent controls with power 3 or greater. Second stage, you create a 2/1 white cat creature token, then put a vigilance counter on a creature you control, and then third, target creature you control gains double strike until the turn. I think it's too slow for any format this is illegal in. Maybe in a Saga's deck it'd be okay in Commander. Like, it's removal in the form of a Saga. So, like, if you're like, oh, I really want to run a Saga, you could put this in replace of another removal spell to get rid of strong creatures they have. And then, you get a cat in return with Vigilance. A cat in return, put Vigilance on a big creature you got. And then, like, your big creature can have double strike to try to hit someone. So I could see this okay there. Maybe even in like Voltron deck where like this is removal and then something to prevent your guys from forcing you to sacrifice your commander and then double strike on your commander. That's not a bad idea. Okay, Ajani Nakatl Pariah. 1 and a white for 1/2 legendary creature cat warrior. This is a cycle of planeswalkers that are monocolor. I think there's one for each color that flip into 2 colors. So this card is 1 and a 2 for a legendary creature cat warrior, and when it enters the battlefield, you make a 2/1 white cat warrior creature token. That's your friend, your brother. Whenever one or more other cats you control die, you may exile Ajani, then return him to the battlefield, transform under its owner's control. So I guess, like, the concept there is really just, like, your brother dies and then he flips, which is very thematic because that's exactly what happens, lore-wise. When he flips, so, like, your token dies, you get Ajani Nakatl Avenger. 3 you get a 3 loyalty planeswalker with a +2. Put a 1/1 counter on each cat you control. A 0, create a 2/1 white cat creature token. When you do, if you control a red permanent other than Ajani, he deals damage equal to the number of creatures you control to any target. And -4, each opponent chooses an artifact, a creature, an enchantment, and a planeswalker from among the non-land permanents they control, then sacrifices the rest. So this card is crack cocaine. Let's explain this. So, at face value, it is 2 mana to get 3 power and 2 blockers. That's not bad. You keep hitting them with the 2/1. If they let the 2/1 dies, Ajani flips. So, again, I don't see this playing many places other than Commander and maybe Modern. Modern could see this come into play in the form of, like, White Weenie deck, where you can swarm the field, get your cat to die, even if you lightning bolt your own cat, or you sack it or something. If it dies, you can flip it. Then you're buffing all your cats. So like if there's enough cats to build a cat deck, Ajani really is a win con in that deck. At a 2-drop win con, mind you. So like you get a bunch of cats, it's 0 to make a cat and then go, oh, I've got a red cat here. Let's just 0 Ajani and go 6 damage to your face, then let's swing in with the rest of them and go for game, right? His -4 is also great because you can +2 and buff all your cats, swing in with them. Maybe you have one that's sitting back to protect you. And the next turn, you can -4 to just make your opponent go down to 1 artifact, 1 creature, 1 enchantment, and 1 planeswalker. Lose everything else. And you're still at 1 loyalty. So you're not done with Ajani. And you got a bunch of cats that are protecting you. So good luck getting to him, right? Like, I think this is really good. I think it's going to see play in Modern. I really do. And as a commander, it's a very fun cat commander, guys. You just flood your deck with cats. You buff your cats. You go, hey, look. See all my cats? You, that opponent over there, take 30 damage. I have 30 cats, that's why. And then it's -4 each opponent. It's -4 just goes, hey, you guys go down to 1. Here's a balance. Except it doesn't affect me. This ability, this -4, will make your friends hate you in Commander. So, I like it. I think it's going to see play in every format that it can. I don't know about Legacy and Vintage. Maybe Legacy and Vintage will find a way. Probably. But let's continue on. Angel Ruins. This is just a reprint, but now it is in Modern for the first time. Or has it always been Modern legal? No, I think it's finally Modern legal. So, I think it's cool. A plane cycle for 2. Okay, so the base, the cycles were good at 1. I don't know about 2 and a 7-drop to pop an artifact and or enchantment, like 2 of them to exile them. I don't know how I feel about that. Maybe a Modern control deck, like blue-white control. A 7-drop for a 5/7 with flying is not great, but being able to plane cycle so you can go grab your shock land and be able to play that so you've got more options. And then late game, you're like, hey, I'm going to revive my Angel Ruins from my graveyard. It enters the battlefield. I'm getting rid of your 2 problematic cards. I could see maybe like the sideboard of a control deck. Like sideboard 2 of them. Even if you're not sideboarding them, it is a good way to cycle into stuff. It's a 5/7. If you can recur this guy, that's where I think the plays go. So look at it for like any recursion deck that needs white could run this. Okay. Agent Dias 1. Agent Dias, this brings oil counters into the light. 1 and a white for an artifact. When it enters the battlefield with 2 oil counters. Whenever 2 or more creatures attack, you put an oil counter on it, okay? Pay 2, tap it, remove 2 oil counters from it, exile another target non-land permanent, its controller draws 2 cards, okay? This is great. This is actually really good, okay? You can run multiple of these. This gives you something to do with oil counters, but I don't really think this is like the savior for oil counters that everyone wants, right? I mean, sure, in an oil commander deck, run this. If any oil commander deck that has white, put this in the deck. Just do it. It's fantastic. Especially like Atrax and stuff. Great way to control stuff, because you're just going to exile a token you control, okay? And draw 2 cards. Or you can exile a problematic card your opponent has. For 4, this exiles whatever your opponent's got that's problematic that's not a land, right? We like that, okay? In Modern, this is going to be doing your, like... I mean, if you're running, like, an aggressive deck that attacks and gives you all the stuff you need to trigger this, to get oil counters on this guy a bunch, maybe even things that proliferate, if possible, you can use this once a turn at instant speed to take care of their problematic cards or to take care of your problematic cards, or to draw cards. So I could see it being play in Modern. Again, maybe a control deck, because it's a little slow. Like, yeah, like, you'd have to find a specific deck to run it. I'm not sure which deck is going to be running it, but I could see it being played there. Maybe, no, I think it's too slow for any other set deck. I think it'll see play in oil decks in Commander, maybe even token decks in Commander, just as a way to draw cards like Sands Blue, or decks that are just low on colors that don't draw cards. This isn't bad. So I think mostly Commander, maybe Modern. Charitable Levy is 1 and a white for an enchantment. Non-creature spells cast 1 more to cost. Whenever a player casts a non-creature spell, put a collection counter on Charitable Levy. Then, if there are 3 or more collection counters on it, sacrifice it. If you do, draw a card. Then you may search the library for a planes card to put in the battlefield, then shuffle. This is going to see play in every single white Commander deck, okay? Non-creature spells cost you 1 more to cast, don't hurry you. Like, most of the time. And then whenever a player casts a non-creature spell, you get a collection. So after each of the opponent casts their non-creature spell during their turn, or you do, this card will draw you a card, so it replaces itself and ramps you. So I think you'll see it in play, and a lot of... Any Stacks deck will love it, just to slow them down for like a rotation. Maybe you see it in Modern. Like, it does slow your opponents down. You could run 4 of these, and they replace their self, slow your opponents down if they're not on a creature deck, and ramp you. So maybe in a control deck as a sideboard matter against like spell slinging decks, because like one of these just like totally stops a lot of decks. Like what's the deck? Prowess. The new Modern Prowess decks people are looking at. This would just slow them straight up. Like, cool. And not like talk about legacy, right? All the 0 drops. Oh, look, now they're 1 drops. And now they have to slowly go, and they cast their 1 drop, and the next turn they cast 2 more 1 drops. And then it goes away. You draw a card. You ramp into a plains. And it searches for a plains, not a basic plains. So you can go get whatever plains, put it onto the battlefield. So in Legacy and Vintage, you're going to go grab your dual land, drop it onto the field, and go, cool. Now I've got my dual land. It's tapped, but it was on your opponent's turn probably. So your next turn you untap it, and you just get to play another card. Oh, look, Charitable Levy again. So I think it could see play in a lot of places. I think some people might underrate it, but it's like sitting at 52 cents for an uncommon. So that's not bad. I think it'll see play in a lot of places. Decree of Justice is 2x, 2 generic, and 2 white for sorcery. Create X 4/4 white enter creature token. Cycle 2 and a white. When you cycle this, you may pay X. If you do, create X 1/1 white soldier creature tokens. I love stuff like this. The option of choice here. You can pay 2 and a white plus any. So yeah, this seeing play in Modern finally is where everything's going to change. I don't think you ever see someone cast it for this much. It's not worth it at sorcery speed. Maybe cycling. Like if you could see it anywhere, instant speed cycling, just going 2 and a white. Let me go draw a card, and then I'm also going to pay like 4x and put 1/1 soldiers. So that it might see play in Modern in that way. Excuse me. I just don't think the big size is what's going to come into handy. Distinguished Conjurer is 1 and a white for a 1/2 human wizard. With whenever another creature enters the battlefield under control, gain 1 life. 4 and a white, tap it, exile another target creature you control, then return it to the battlefield under its own control. Maybe, I don't know, maybe if like Soul Sisters became a deck again. Being able to exile a target creature you control and return it for 5 isn't awful, but you really need a good ETB. If Modern can find that ETB to abuse this, to just go exile this thing, get it back, exile this thing. A good ETB in Modern and a slower deck could make this card worth it. Otherwise, don't think it sees much play. Dog Umber is 1 and a white for an enchantment aura with flash, enchant creature. As long as another player controls enchanted creature, it can't attack or block. Otherwise, Dog Umber has Umber Armor. Umber Armor is always great. If it would be destroyed, you destroy the enchantment itself. It's got flash. You can do this at instant speed. And then on top of all of that, you get to see this as like a really nice, like, oh, I could use this to just stop my opponent's creature as well. So having that double choice really helps. I think you're going to see this a lot in Pauper. That's where I think this card totally sees play. 100%. It's just Pauper. Cast this onto the card. Freeze them. Or put it on your creatures. Stop board wipe or stop removal. That's the point. It either protects your creatures or stops your opponents. Lets you get in. So maybe if there... I think there's aura deck in Popper, I believe there is. And then Modern could use this in an aura deck as well. It's not awful as a protection spell. Envoy of the Ancestors is 2 and a white for a 2/3 human cleric with Outlast. Modified creatures you control have lifelink. Okay, so Outlast is an old mechanic where you pay 1 and tap it and you put a 1 counter on it, and you can only do it at sorcery. If this was instant speed, it would have been a good mechanic. It's not. So the idea is you can Outlast this guy your second turn. And now it's a 3/4, and then, oh look, it now all of a sudden has, it's modified, so it is lifelink. Cool. I don't think, Outlast is like, I've got nothing better to do, let me just Outlast. Modified creatures you control have lifelink could be useful. I think any commander deck that uses modified creatures will run this just as a good way to gain accidental life over the course of the game. Otherwise, I think it's a little lackluster in any other format. Essence Reliquary is 2 and a white for a artifact. Tap it, return another target permanent you control, and all auras you control attached to it to their owner's hand. Activate only during your turn. This is a great way to stop someone from removing your creature. You just put it all back in your hand. And you don't lose your auras, okay? Now, in Commander, this is interesting. Protect your creature, stop stuff. In Modern and also in Commander, this is a great way in any Enchantress deck because you put all those auras back into your hand so you can recast them all. If they're a bunch of cheap 1-drop auras, you can just go boom, 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 draw a bunch of cards. That is where this card comes in handy. Being able to recast all those auras. It's the equivalence of the blue card that says return all artifacts target player controls, and you just bounce all yours back and cast all your 0-drop artifacts. Yeah, they're going to cost 1 because it's not as broken as artifacts are, but it's still good. I still think this has a lot of play to see. And you do it in response to a removal spell so you don't lose anything. Expel the Unworthies, 1 and a white for a sorcerer with Kicker for 2 and a white. Choose target creature with mana value 3 or less. If this spell is kicked, instead choose target creature. Exile the chosen creature. Then its controller gains life equal to its mana value. This may be Popper. I don't know how Popper's removal spells look, but like a 2-drop sorcery to just pop a 3 or less is fine, and then for 5 pop anything could be useful, but it only hits creatures, so I think it's a little weak. Flare of Fortitude is 2 and 2 white for an instant. You may sacrifice a non-token white creature rather than pay the spell's mana cost. Until the turn, you gain your life total can't change, and permanents you control gain hexproof and indestructible, okay? The idea of these cycles already being banned in Historic proves that they're going to be seeing Modern play, possibly Legacy and Vintage, and definitely Commander, and low-cost colored decks. But being able to go, oh, I'm just going to sack this white creature, and go, everything else has hexproof and indestructible, and also you can't change my life total. It's a you don't lose the game. Now, it's an instant, so it's not a bot. So I don't know if this sees play in everything, but I definitely think it sees play in control decks that just want to not lose the game. But you do have to ask yourself here, like, if you cast this spell and you don't lose the game, cool. I mean, so you have your creatures out in the field. Someone goes to end the game or something on you. Lightning bolt. You go sack this creature, Flare of Fortitude, my life can't be changed, and my stuff is hexproof and indestructible. What are you going to do? They go, can't stop you, I'm just going to pass here. But you can't turn 0 this. Well, you can. You can turn 1 this, right? You cast a creature, and then you can have Flare of Fortitude open for you at any time, right? Just being able to go, hey, I don't die. I think it's the weakest of the bunch, but I still think it's going to see play in a lot of formats. It just says that I don't lose the game here. Give me one more turn. In all ideology, this is an extra turn spell. This just says, hey, you can't win the turn this game. I'm taking my turn, okay? Sure, they got to push a little ahead and they got to untap their stuff. But you do this, you cast this in response to them casting something. So they lose some mana, and you go, hey, I don't lose the game. I'm taking my next turn. So, I think it could see play in Modern, and definitely in Commander. Glyph Elemental is 1 and a white for a 2/2 enchantment creature elemental. Bestow for 1 and a white. If you cast this card for its bestow cost, it's an aura spell with enchant creature. It becomes a creature again if it's not attached. Okay? Landfall. When a land is the battlefield control, put a 1/1 counter on Glyph Elemental. Enchant creature gets +1/+1 for each 1/1 counter on Glyph Elemental. Okay? So. Oh, okay. Okay. So, the way this works is that when a bestowed creature, like the creature falls off, I believe the creature once. Okay, so it does work like that. So if the creature dies, the Glyph Elemental comes out. So I enjoy this again in like an Enchantress deck, right? So like you cast this for its bestow, it's an enchantment. You put it on a creature, and then the bestow, the aura that is Glyph Elemental will get the 1/1 counters on it. And then, if they kill that creature that it's equipped to, like, let's say, I think it's Savala, the one that draws you cards, the Selesnya one, that draws you cards whenever you cast an enchantment. If that happens, you get to go, oh, cool, oh, you stopped my Savala? Cool, here's my, like, 10/10, because, or, like, my, maybe it's just 3 lands this time, right? It's a 5/5. Your Savala was, or whatever she is, that one, it gets +3/+3 for the 1/1 counters. And is a threat by itself, and then if it goes away, oh look, I still have something. A board wipe also doesn't stop it. Like it gives you that resistance, and I like that. And it's a cheap bestow cost, and it does a lot. So I think you might see it in that Enchantress deck. Guardian of the Forgotten is 3 and a white for a 4/4 Elephant Warrior with Vigilance. Whenever a modified creature you control dies, manifest the top card of your library. Maybe in like face down flip decks, you'll see this. I don't think you're gonna see it much in Modern. Yeah, I don't think you will. Guide of Souls is 1 white for a 1/2 human cleric, and is one of the cards that I have running in my energy decks for Modern. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under control, you gain a life and you get an energy. Whenever you attack, you may pay 3 energy. When you do, put 2 1/1 counters on and a flying counter on target attacking creature. It becomes an angel in addition to its other types. This is just one of the win cons and one of the energy gainers in that deck, right? It's a Jeskai energy deck that I've been messing around with Modern. And the idea is you keep getting the energies off of it. Getting that accident life gain stops your opponent from being able to kill you. And then for 3, you're able to just make, like, you could even choose to target itself and make it a 3/4 with flying. And you just start hitting your opponent with flyers. And you do that to the next guy, and then this other guy, and then this other guy each turn. If you have that extra 3 energy, just to stop your opponents from, just to take your opponents out. So it's very strong. You're running 4 of them. It's a great turn 1 play. And then, of course, any energy deck in Commander will run it. Hex Gold Slith is 1 and a white for a 2/1 creature Slith. When it enters the battlefield, you get 2 energy. When it attacks, you may pay 2 energy. If you do, against first strike until the turn. When it deals combat damage to player, put a 1/1 counter on it. I didn't care for this one in the deck. I think it's fine. It's a cool way to gain 2 energy pretty quickly, but I think it's slow in the long run. It doesn't. It's not that it's slow. It doesn't do enough for you. It's too weak and being in a combat that makes sense. Maybe if there's an energy deck that can come out in Pauper, that'd be cool. But other than that, unless you're flickering this in Commander, I don't think you're going to play it much. I like the art, though. I think it's cool. Indebtable Spirit. A white for a 1/1 enchantment creature spirit with bestow 2 and a white. Afterlife 1, when this permanent is put into your graveyard, from the battlefield, create a 1/1 white and black spirit creature with flying. Enchant creature gets +1/+1 and has Afterlife 1. So, you get double Afterlife with this for 2 and a white. You cast the bestow cost, boom. The creature's getting +1/+1. If it dies, boom, you get a 1/1 spirit with flying, and your Indomitable Spirit. And then when it dies, you'll get that again. So this isn't great. This isn't bad. Maybe in Aristocrat decks, that's kind of cool, because you can bestow a creature, sack that creature, get a token, and Indomitable, sack Indomitable, get another token, sack those tokens. So that's 4 sacks for 3 mana. I could see that. I could see that being something. I don't think it'll see play in Modern, though. I think it's a little slow. Unless they can find something to, like Aristocrat like this. Like, maybe in, Yawgmoth decks in Modern, where, like, yeah, you could bestow this onto the thing you're going to sack with Yawgmoth, get the token, sack the Indomitable, get another token, sack those two, and kind of go off from there for 3 mana. I could see that working in like a Yawgmoth deck. Inspired Inventor is 2 and a white for a 2/2 human artificer. When it's the battlefield, choose one. Get 3 energy, put a 1/1 counter on a creature, or make a 1/1 server. I think it's slow. Again, energy deck in Pauper. That's where I could see this being played. Like in Pauper, being able to go, oh, I got a servo to help me push in. I've got 3 energy to help me win the game off of energy, and I've got 2. Or I just buff this small creature. Maybe make it a 3/3, or make your flyer that you got over there like an extra damage output. So I think you get some options here. I'm gonna look into making like a Pauper energy deck and see if that's possible. We just need a win con off of common energy card. Jolted Awake is a white for a sorcery. Choose up to one target artifact or creature card in your graveyard. You get 2 energy. Then you may pay an amount of energy equal to that amount of value. If you do, return it to the battlefield. From the graveyard to the battlefield, cycling 2. This card's not bad. Again, this is that like Pauper level stuff where like you can use this to grab your Inspired Inventor back, right? Your Inspired Inventor, you're just going to have 3 energy, and then you can just go, hey, look, he's back, and now I'm going to get 3 more energy. So you can kind of do some cycling there. I think there's something to be said there. Mandibal Kite is a white for an artifact enchantment with living weapon. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 and has flying. Equipped 3 and a white. I love Living Weapon. I think Living Weapon is one of my favorite mechanics of all time. I think it's heavily underrated in so many ways. So, like, what I think about Living Weapon overall, my honest opinion, really is just, like, it's useful, okay? 1 mana to get a 1/1 with flying, okay? That's fine. And then later on, for 3 and a white, or for free in Modern, or whatever other formats have. I don't know if Pauper has a way to equip stuff for free. But any format where you can is great, dude. Like, you just get to go, oh, let's just equip this for free. Now my guy has flying. And +1/+1. Not great, but 1 for a 1/1 with flying is fine. With this upside of, like, later on, I can give something else a +1/+1 in flying. That's great. I love Living Weapons. It's definitely going to become a deck in Commander where you just run a bunch of Living Weapon cards as your win con. I like it. They come out as equipped creatures, so it's so good. And they're already modified creatures for the modified concepts in Modern. So I think you might see there, you definitely will see some type of modified deck coming up in Pauper with everything coming out. Metastatic Evangel. 1 and a white for a 3/1 Phyrexian Human Cleric. When another non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, proliferate. Right there. This card's great. Any counter deck in Modern will run this. Being able to come down 2/2 and then just casting another creature and going proliferate. This is great. It's going to see play in proliferate decks in Commander, and even Vintage and Legacy, if they've got them, you'll see it there. But Modern specifically, guys, like Infect decks, guys, forget about it. Oh, I gave you 1 Infect. Creature. Look, you died. Like, that's just gross. That's just an easy way to end someone with Infect if they've got too much stuff up. I think it's great. I think everything about this card's fantastic. It will see play in any deck. Look, even in, like, control decks where they're running Planeswalkers, this allows you to go Planeswalker, like, boom, boom, boom. Like, it's useful. This is going to see play in counter decks. I like it. And energy-wise, like, maybe. But probably not. There's just better energy cards. Muster the Departed. 2 and a white for an enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, you get a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying. Morbid. At the beginning of your end step, if a creature died this turn, populate. That's not bad. Okay, so token decks are going to run this in Commander instantly. That populate trigger on the end step is great, especially if you can make, like, big creatures or copies of your creatures, like a blue-white deck that's, like, making copies of your commander that aren't legendary. Now you can just make another copy of it. That's gross. I love that. All you have to do is lose a creature. Cool. That's not hard. But everywhere else, you're looking at, like, oh, one of my other creatures died. Let me make another 1/1 white spirit. Oh, another creature died. Let me make another 1/1 white spirit at end step constantly, which is kind of interesting. But I think this will break if you can copy something good and make good stuff out of it. That's where I'm looking at this, and I don't know if we have that yet in Modern. Nyx Born Unicorn is 1 in a white for a 2/2 unicorn with Bestow 3 in a white and Mentor. So when this creature attacks, put a 1/1 counter on target attacking creature with lesser power. Enchant creature gets +2/+2 and has Mentor. So at face value, turn 2, you get a 2/2 with Mentor, right? So now you attack, your 1/1 is now a 2/2. Cool. Not great, not bad. Maybe there's a Bestow Aura deck in Pauper. And then for 3 in a white, for turn 4 here, right? You're like, actually, that guy is a 4/4. Or like a 3/3. And now I'm going to Mentor that guy, who's a 1/1, and make it a 2/2. I think it's too slow for Modern. Maybe Pauper could find something to do with it. Ocelot Pride is a 1 for a 1/1 cat. This card's gross. This card's already looking at like a $40 card, guys. 1 for a 1/1 creature cat with first strike and lifelink and Ascend. If you control 10 or more permanents, you gain the City Blessings for the rest of the game. At the beginning of your end step, if you gain life this turn, create a 1/1 white cat creature token. Then, if you have the City's Blessing, for each token you control that into the battle this turn, create a token copy of it. This card is what we're talking about when we're talking about Ajani, okay? That Ajani card likes cats. Oh, look, this is a cat. Now, it's not red, so you have to find another way to run a red permanent, okay? But this is a cat, so it counts towards the 1/1 counters it can give out, okay? It makes cat tokens at the end step if you gain life. And since it's a 1/1 with first strike and lifelink, and your Ajani can make it a 2/2 with first strike and lifelink, oh, look, you're going to be making cat tokens, which Ajani likes to get them bigger. Oh, look, the cat tokens are 2/2s now. And then if you have the City's Blessings, which you do pretty quickly because you're making tokens with Ajani and the Ocelot, all of a sudden, oh, look, let's make copies of the cat tokens we made with Ajani and the Ocelot. Absolutely great. 4 of in so many aggressive decks that just white weenies love this. And this is just going to go into any cat deck in Commander. And token deck. Yeah. Any token deck, dude. Yeah, make a copy, a token you control that into the battle this turn. Create a token that's a copy of it. That's for all tokens. Like if you made 5 treasures, you make 5 of them. Again. Gross. Orm's Chant is 1 for an instant legendary. This is a reprint that was plane shift. So it looks like it's finally in Modern. So 1 for an instant with kicker, a white for an instant with kicker white. Target player can't cast spells this turn. If this spell was kicked, creatures can't attack this turn. This is, again, just meant to be... What's the Judge promo? Oh, that looks cool. It's just literally meant to be an extra turn spell for white. You know, for 1, you just go, hey, you can't cast spells. Oh, I'll pass. And for 2, you're like, you can't attack either. So if you have to, you do that. But otherwise, dude, control decks love this. Any deck would love this. Running 4 of these just to give yourself an extra turn, like, oh, by the way, at your upkeep, you can't cast spells this turn. And then also on your turn, being able to go, hey, you can't stop me this turn. No casting spells. They have to counter this. It's a 1-drop that they have to counter, otherwise they can't counter anything else, so they're going to have to waste a counter. It's a way to make your opponents waste counters. So, like, I love this in any white deck in Modern, honestly. Like, almost 4 of, just as an extra turn spell, is great to really push your opponent. All they did was play an extra land. Wow. Yep. Exactly. I love it. Love everything about it. I think it's going to see play in Modern. Definitely. And I don't think Commander, because this is target player. So this is not a Commander card. I wouldn't even bother with it there. Okay. Pearl Era Imperial Advisor is 1 and 2 white for a 3/4 Fax Advisor, legendary creature. Lifelink. Enchantment spells you cast have affinity for auras 1. When you cast an aura spell that targets a modified permanent you control, draw a card. Okay, so this is part of that aura deck that I was talking about in Modern. Deck is going to come out around. You have enough enchantresses. This lowers all your enchantments by 1 per aura. So, like, if you're putting auras on Pearl Aura and other things, the bestowed stuff, whatever, all of a sudden your enchantments cost less. And then, when you cast an aura spell that targets a modified permanent, something that already has an aura, you draw a card, which is even more draw. So I really think they're pushing this aura deck in Modern. I think we're going to see something out of it. Feely Exorbitant Shepherd is 1 and a white for a 2/2 dog with flash, and when it attacks, exile 1 target non-land permanent at the beginning of the next end step. Exile up to 1 target non-land permanent at the beginning of your next end step. Return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control. If it's entered the battlefield under your control, put a 1/1 counter on Philia. I think people are finding a way to use this. Honestly, again, it really just relies on like having a good ETB. If we can find a card that's just a good ETB, this is in Modern. This will see play. Being able to cast this turn 2 in a control deck where you have a counter spell. Oh, I don't have to counter. Flash and Philia, and then just flicker something. I'm not sure what, but something that's got a good ETB that just really lets you keep casting. And oh look, Philia is getting bigger. Now you got to hit Philia, but I'm just going to control the field, and I don't need to cast spells. I'm just getting stuff off of my ETBs from my stuff. So, oh look, that thing entered again. I get more stuff. There's got to be something. Maybe a Jeskai deck where like the red creature enters and burns your opponent, and you just slowly burn stuff. I could see something. Proud Pack Rhino is 2 and a white for a 3/3 Rhino. When it enters the battlefield, choose 1. Put a shield counter on target permanent. Proliferate. I don't love it. I don't hate it. I don't think it'll see play much. That Proliferate means it'll see play in like Proliferate decks in Commander where they flicker stuff. That's about it. And the shield counter, sure. Like if you could flicker this thing constantly, putting shield counters is not bad. Razorgrass Ambusher. This is the first land, creature land we're going to see. There's a lot of them. It's into the battlefield, pay 3 life. If you don't, it enters the battlefield tapped. So, like, it's cool. This is all for those, like, land decks, or those, oops, all spell decks, where you can now do that in multiple different colors, because there's a lot of these. And these are just better ones. Instead of having them come in tapped every time, you can pay 3 life to make it come in untapped, which is cool. And it deals 3 damage to target attack and a blocking creature. So that's not a bad spell. It's not a great spell, mind you. But 1 and a white to go, hey, stop. I'm going to kill that that attacking creature. Oh, you're blocked me? Yeah, no, now it's dead. Oh, no, actually, I needed a land. So that's not bad. I think it'll see play in any of those types of decks, if that's what they need at that point. Recruiter of the Guards is finally in Modern, and it's gross, and it's going to make Recruiter go up in price. It's 2 and a white for a 1/1 human soldier. When it enters the battlefield, search the library for a creature card with toughness 2 or less, reveal it, put it in your hand, then shuffle. Any deck that needs a specific card runs 4 of this, and then you just have a way to get that specific card into your hand. So if there is a Modern deck that runs a toughness 2 or less card that you need in your hand, this gives you it. And that's why there's going to be 4 of them in the deck, and it's gross. I love it. I think it's amazing. I love this for Modern. I think it really helps with the flow of the game. And helps lesser decks that really had that problem of I need this card, run 4 extra copies. Or just a toolbox deck where you can grab like whatever you need at that point. Like that one, you're running a few 1-ofs that are power 2 or less, and you run this to grab them. And it's ETB, so like if you can grab the Philia dog, and then the next turn cast it for flash, and then you can flicker this and grab other cards, that's actually interesting too. Resurrected Knight is 4 and a white for a 3/4 human knight. Vigilance. When it enters the battlefield, look at the top 6 cards of your library. You reveal an artifact or enchantment from among them. Put it in your hand. Put the rest in the bottom library in random order. If you didn't put a card into your hand this way, put a 1/1 counter on him. I don't even think I don't think Pauper wants this card. Maybe. I mean, it is a +1, or you get a 4 or 5, and I think the 4 or 5 is weak. So I think it's pretty not great. As a flicker card, that's great in Commander. This will see play in flicker decks in Commander. Savine's Reclamation is again also finally in Modern. It wasn't in Modern before, and now it's in Modern. So what does that mean for Modern? Well, we have a fantastic Refurbishing card that has flashback. You return target permanent with 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. If this spell was cast from your graveyard, you may copy this spell and choose a new target for that copy. There are two card combos in Modern. So if you run a self-mill deck, this is great. And if you're running a recursion deck, this is great. So this is going to see play in all those decks where you just go, hey, oh look, I milled it. Get these 2 cards back. And return 2 permanent cards from your value. So this is going to see play in land decks where you can get 2 lands back that you need for winning the game. Like, it's gross. It's amazing. I think it's fantastic. Soulless Zealot is 2 and a white for a 2/3 Rhino Cleric. When it's the battlefield, you get 2 energy. Tap. Pay an energy, tap target creature. Again, Pauper energy. Having that pay one, tap it, pay one, tap target creature isn't bad as like a way to just slowly control a Pauper game. Hey, no, actually that creature doesn't do anything. They can't attack me. You're going to combat, tap that. Or I need to get in, tap that, and then swing in with something else. Like, I think it's useful. If you can give this Vigilance, you can tap it on the way to attack. Static Prison is a white for an enchantment. When Static Prison enters the battlefield, exile target non-land permanent, and opponent controls until Static Prison leaves the battlefield. You get an energy. You get 2 energy. At the beginning of your pre-combat maze, sacrifice it unless you pay an energy. I don't like this. I don't like this for energy decks. I think it's fine. It's okay. Maybe if you're like looking for a removal spell for it's exile target non-land permanent and opponent controls until it leaves the battlefield. So, like, it does hit anything. I think that it's better than I'm giving it credit for. I don't think it'll see too much play, but maybe in an energy deck it will see play. Or just like removing a problematic thing for 2 turns. Sure. Thrabian Charm is 1 and a white for an instant. Choose 1. Thrabian Charm does damage equal to twice the number of creatures controlled to target creature. Destroy target enchantment. Exile any number of target players' graveyards. This is great. This is a great sideboard card in white. Just be able to go, you don't have a graveyard, or go pop that enchantment if you're running an enchantment deck, or just pop a creature if you're running a lot of creatures. Like, getting all 3 choices is very useful, so I think it might see some modern play. It'll definitely see play in Pauper, though. This being a common, this will see play in Pauper as removal spells. Volt Storm Angels, 3 and 2 white for a 4/4 Angel. When it enters the battlefield, you get 3 energy. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you pay 2. When you do, choose 1. It gains Vigilance and Lifelink until your turn, or other creatures get +1/+1 until your turn. I think just Commander energy is where this is going to see play. It's too expensive for Modern. White Orchid Phantom is 2 white for a 2/2 Spirit Knight with flying and first strike. And when a White Orchid Phantom enters the battlefield, destroy up to 1 target non-basic land. Its controller may search the library for a basic land card and put it onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. This is fantastic. This is seeing play in Modern and will see play in Modern because it's got flying and first strike for a 2/2, so it's going to hit people very well. And it removes people's land mana fixing. So this is going to see play as a 4-of in any white weenie deck that you like sideboard out against like monocolor decks. So not bad. I think it's great in Modern. Such a good helpful fix. Wing It is 1 and a white for an instant. Target creature gets +2/+2 and until end of turn. Put a flying counter on it. Try 1. This will see play in Pauper. Giving that flying counter is what you want. That the +2/+2, cool. But like a +2/+2, so you're dealing 2 extra damage at instant speed, giving it flying, so now it can't be blocked, and you get to scry 1. Everything there for 2 mana, that's gross. That is going to see play in Pauper. I don't think anywhere else, though. Witch Enchanter is 3 and a white for a 2/2 human warlock. When it enters the battlefield, destroy target artifact or enchantment an opponent controls. Again, not the best, but on the other side, you can pay 3 life to make it a land. Cool. Great. It's not great, but the fact that it's a land is great. It's good. It's good. Next. Wrath of Skies. Wrath of the Skies. X and 2 white for sorcery. You get X energy. Then you get to pay an amount of energy. Destroy each artifact, creature, enchantment, and with mana value less than or equal to the amount of energy paid. This is a win con with the new red energy card. So there's a red enchantment energy card that says whenever you pay energy, deal that much damage to any target. So this card allows you to go, hey, let's pay 7 here and get 5 energy and then spin that 5 energy or 3 of that so I don't lose my 4-drop and just wipe the field and then deal 3 damage to their face. Or if you have 2 of them on the field, more. Or if you have so much mana, you can just and it's pay any amount of energy. So there's the thing. You get energy. So you could have 3 energy here. You could just do 5. Okay? Put the 3, but then, oh look, I happen to have 20 energy. All together, plus the 3 I got. Spend the 20. Oh look, I spent the 20. Your opponent's dead. That's what this card's doing. That is why it's there. It's going to see play for that combo of, oh, I have 20 energy, someone's dead. That's what it's doing. I love it. I think it's great. On top of that, in Commander, it's just a great board wipe for energy decks. Anyway, let me know what your guys' favorite white card is from the set. Next video, we'll be talking about the blue cards. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And have a fantastic day. Peace.